my name is Danny Lynn, and I am the owner of Freedom Real Estate Group, a real estate investing company specializing in turnkey rental properties out of Dayton, Ohio. Today, I am hosting an expert panel to talk about private money lending and what it means to be a private money lender. I have many people who I talk to that ask similar questions about private lending, so I thought it would be super powerful to put on an educational event where we could answer all of the most common questions in a way that it didn't come from me, but it came from the experts that I get to work with every day. So we're going to kick off the event with introductions. Steve, would you like to start?
Yes, my name is Steve Stitzinger. I'm the staff attorney for All Points Title and Closing in Hamilton, Ohio. And we are, like I say, a full-service title company and closing, title, escrow, all of it. And that's who I am.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Randy.
My name is Randy Brown. I'm a managing shareholder with OXCPA. I also host a modest little podcast called Step Forward and Raise Your Gloves, dealing with the real issues that small business people face. Our firm, we specialize in entrepreneurs, small business owners, real estate investors, and those kind of things. So thanks for the invite. Happy to be.
Thank you for joining us, Randy. All right, Sunny.
Hi, I'm Sunny. I'm actually a private lending partner with Real Estate Group, Freedom Real Estate Group for years. And my real job, actually, I'm president of Sunny Future Consulting LLC. That's a small company. We are trying to help the small business, startup business owners to face a lot of different things. And we are trying to help them online if they want to have online business set up. So that is the service I provide. And I am the real estate investor for more than 15 years. The recent years, I work with Freedom Real Estate Group and learn a lot and really enjoy the relationship with Danny and all other investors in the firm. So that I'm coming in for today and just share my experience with others.
Thank you, Sunny. And I just want to say that I especially love your background. It's very cheery. All right, Danielle?
Yes, hi, Danielle here, key account representative with Specialized Trust Company. We are a self-directed IRA custodian based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, helping investors really for over a decade now unlock existing retirement funds, creating accounts, recognizing tax benefits while investing not only in notes, but really anything, I'll say, outside of the stock market. So you're in the driver's seat.
That's awesome. All right, I feel like I have the best of the best here with us today to answer all these questions. So thank you first and foremost for joining us. We're going to kick it off with some questions. And Randy, you are first. So your question is, can you explain what it means to be a private lender in the real estate space?
Sure. So it's really an area of real estate investment that's completely overlooked. When folks think about borrowing money or lending money, they think about a typical mortgage company. They'll think about going to a mortgage broker. They'll think about borrowing money from a bank, or if they need a softer source of funds, they'll talk about going to friends or family members or things like that. What is overlooked a lot is the whole community of investors who are looking for a way to get into the secure comfort and wealth that's built from real estate investment. But they don't have the time maybe to do flips, or they don't want to manage properties, or they don't want to do, all of those kind of things. So they put their money into an investment, or they put their money into the business by becoming a private lender. So it's overlooked for people who are looking for funds, and it's definitely overlooked by people who are looking to get their money into the real estate game. So becoming a private lender is exactly that. I'm an individual. I have some extra cash. I want to put this cash to work. So I'm going to put this cash to work in an investment that is still secured by real estate, but is going to give me much better return than other types of either lending or investment.
Awesome. One of the reasons why I love doing this is your answer was better than mine. Awesome. All right.
You gave me 2 days to work on it. So.
Good stuff. All right, Sunny, you're up next. Why do investors need private lenders?
Well, I will say that from my investor standpoint, when I started doing my investor role, where the heads, I figured out there's a three pillars I really need. It's a good deal, including the exit strategy, and I need to have enough funding, and I need to have a good people work with me. They know what to do. They work with me nicely, so that would be successful transaction. But for a professional company like Freedom Real Estate Group, they are not only just work on one house at a time a year or two houses a year. They are working for a whole project, and they really need the speed of the project to move on, so they can bring more of the project, a deal, get it in and get out and benefit either the renter or the investor down to the end. So with that speed of a project, if you don't have enough cash, the three pillar, you just have one just collapse. You don't have a way to really support that. So in order to have enough cash, not only fund the investor themselves, they do have funding, of course, but in order to really get this whole big machine running steady and continuously to benefit everybody, they definitely need other cash. But the cash is just like Randy said, is secured by the real estate, because as a cash partner, what do you call it, private lending partners, coming in with their fund, but they also is part of the team. They bring the money in, and like Freedom Real Estate Group has a special team and knowledge to continue to work on this project. Then your money get out with the interest or something, the benefit compensation for your as a partners. That is the win-win model for me. I think it's just a no-brainer. That's why I think that model is particularly nice for today's market. You don't have energy, or you cannot get out anyway, to do things outside the house, but then your money's still working for you. That is still the best, the scenario right now. So that's why, as an investor, I really think the private lending project or become a private lender is the way to go in the recession market.
Good stuff. I love that. And I love that it comes from a lender that actually works with us. So you experience the other side of the equation. That's awesome. Thank you, Sunny. All right, Danielle, you're up. What sources of funds can I invest with?
Yeah, so I think the easy one is cash, right? If we've got liquid money sitting in the bank, I mean, that's easy. I can stroke you a check, and, you know, we've built our business relationship. But what I think is what we tend to see a little bit more in the market is with a lot of investors, you know, their funds are one of two places. It's the equity in their personal residence, or it's their retirement account, whether that's an old 401k from work, something they've rolled to an IRA, or what have you. And so what we help clients do is really unlock that additional funding source so they can put it to better use. And something, you know, as Randy mentioned, you know, where they have that higher interest rate than maybe what they're seeing in other avenues or other investments. So, you know, what I think about it is really a win-win, because not only are they having the ability to take those funds and really direct those into something where maybe they feel more confident, more comfortable, more secure than maybe what they were previously, you know, but two, I think we're going to see that play a bigger and bigger role, you know, especially where we look at where everything's at today. A lot of investors, unfortunately, are getting access to those 401k funds through layoffs and things like that. So it's completely untapped. I'm looking at a stat, and this was a little bit dated, so with the current market, I don't know how where the fluctuation is. I mean, but there's $24 trillion in retirement accounts.
Wow.
$1 trillion. I mean, so it is a completely untapped source, you know, for folks that just, I don't think they know about it. They haven't heard about it unless they're working with a group like yourself, or, you know, someone I'll say that's more Main Street, you know, versus Wall Street. So.
Sure. I don't know. Do we go into this question, and I'm just going to ask you on the spot right here later, where you really talk about and define the self-directed IRA versus, say, a 401k or a solo 401k? Is that going to be explained later in this?
Correct. That's what I was thinking later, where you were talking about how we access the monies. Yeah. So I was going to put that in down there.
That's perfect. Good. Okay. And let's keep on rolling. Number 5 is for Steve. We're putting you on the spot, Steve. How is my money secured?
All right. Typically, when someone loans money in a case like this, first and foremost comes the promissory note. You may have heard of that, and that's the document where you actually affirm that you're lending money. Right? That sets forth the terms of the note. You know, how long for repayment? Is there interest? What's the interest rate? The manner of repayment, is it monthly, quarterly, one-time payment, etc. All right. That's the basis. It is then secured by, for instance, in the state of Ohio, and in other states, it's called a deed of trust. Ohio, it's a mortgage. All right. And that is the document, again, by which a lender is secured. The real property involved is collateral. If there's non-payment on the note, then that lender or the holder of that note and mortgage can then foreclose in the state of Ohio, if necessary, to recover their the monetary interest in the property. The foreclosure process is a civil action, at the end of which, if it's taken to fruition, there's a judicial sale and proceeds are divided accordingly in terms of order of priority. But in terms of when you lend the money, those are the main vehicles by which you do that. First, again, is the promissory note, the promise to pay, secured by a mortgage.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, Sunny, we're back to you. How long is my money invested?
Well, it really depends on the project. I believe right now in the current situation is between 6 to 12 months. But I know in the past, sometime they only just have a deal, it's just ready to go. I have some friends, they say like 3 weeks, they got a call, they need to move on for the next project. They are really surprised things can be that fast. But I think in average, the current project is between 6 to 12 months.
Good. Yes, I remember that. I was like, whoa, it's so fast. All right, let's move you into a new deal. Okay. All right, Steve, you're up again. Am I responsible for anything other than funding?
Well, you are. Again, you need to make sure that, as I discussed earlier with the promissory note and the mortgage, if you're the lender, you need to be satisfied with those terms. So obviously you need to review them, all right, make sure they comport with what the basis of your bargain or your deal is. At the end, when if you're coming to a point where you're going to be paid off, right, in that sense, the payoff statement will have to be proffered to a title company who's doing the closing, or a closing attorney, or what have you, including the principal amount and interest to the date of closing, and any fees. For instance, you may want to charge $34 release fee, which is going to be basically the recording fee in the state of Ohio for recording a release of that mortgage. Which, and you would need to execute and sign a release of the mortgage, because the mortgage, once it's paid, has to be released of record, or else it creates a cloud on the title that continues on. So beyond the funding, yes, you do have some responsibilities, and again, that is primarily not just, as I mentioned earlier, if you would, in the unfortunate event, you'd have to execute on your mortgage. But even if you do not have to do that, when it's paid, you do have those responsibilities that I just mentioned, in again, making sure it's paid off properly and the mortgage therefore is canceled.
Awesome. So I always tell everybody on the phone, just to verify and correct me to make sure this is right. I always tell them you're reviewing the note and mortgage, just like you said, make sure that the terms and the structure is correct. And then ultimately, when it comes to closing time, you're going to have that payoff statement to tell title company
Absolutely.
how to pay you back. And then you're going to sign that release of mortgage. And those are really the 3 steps. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Awesome. Whenever I get the legal questions, I'm like, let me just verify them one more time. All right. Randy, you're up next. What are the tax implications for lending?
So the tax implications, it's a little bit of good news, bad news. So the good news is that lending is passive. It's passive income. So you're going to pay income tax at passive income rates. Bad news is, and it's not terrible news, obviously, because you're making money, but short-term passive income or short-term capital gains are taxed at your ordinary tax rate. So whatever your marginal tax rate is, that's the tax you're going to pay on the income derived from the lending. So if you lend out, $10,000 and then you get back $12,000, then you're going to end up paying tax on that $2,000 spread. You'll get a 1099 from Freedom Real Estate Group if they were to lend the money to you, or to whoever you lent the money to who's paying you the interest. And then you'll enter that onto your 1040. Your tax professional will know. I actually feel like just the answer to that question sets up Danielle perfectly for another reason to use some of that $24 trillion in untapped funds. Because let's just say, we're talking about high income, or at least high net worth individuals. So, we could have a marginal tax rate of 36%, right? And if we utilize one of the vehicles that Danielle's firm offers, then we can increase our return on investment by 36% the first year. So actually we can mitigate our tax. So the tax implications, it's income just like any other income, because the short-term capital gains are taxed the same way.
Nice. Good gold nuggets there. All right, Danielle, I'm not going to let you run with this quite yet. Let's swing over to Sunny real quick. Sunny, does it matter who I fund deals for?
Oh, that is really the good questions, because hey, money is not easy to earn. We earn it, we need to invest in it wisely. So in order to find a good investors you trust in something, you have to do a little study. What they are doing. Well, they have a unique market, they are stable. They do have the excellent exit strategy, so you don't really got money stuck there forever. And also, would they have the experience working with others? And how are their feedback or the comments about it? So the thing I find out the Freedom Real Estate Group, they are amazing. Like they don't have any complaints for all the customer client. They work nationwide and also has foreigners. They all like it here. So that is the good sign. And the other thing is they are in a very unique market. Like the turnkey property is not like normal rental, and it's not like the flipping. So you need to have a steady neighborhood. They all have that demand. They all want to be a tenant, and they all have the job opportunity in that community. So I think that really positioned the Freedom Real Estate Group in the perfect spot right now, because they are focused on a very unique niche in Ohio, Dayton area, have a lot of tenants and renters. They have a good business around them. So they are very stable for whatever the real estate needs. So that's the unique thing. And I really think the comments from all other lenders and contractors and all this buyer investors is also play very high mark for Freedom Real Estate Group. So I have no doubt that is the company I'll put my money into.
Awesome. So I actually, when I set up these questions, I followed it up with a question that I would answer, because whenever I'm on the phone, people will say at the very end, what haven't I asked that I should have? And I always say, I'm glad you said that. What are the risks, right? Because this isn't all, roses. So the risk anytime that you're investing private money funds with a investor is that you might lose money. So that was something that Steve talked about when he described the note and mortgage. That's why you are protected and secured by real estate. So what I tell everybody when I'm answering that question is I have lost money on real estate personally. And Randy can attest to this because he's seen my books. So I've lost money on deals. What has not happened is private lenders have never lost money on deals, because I would never put my private lenders in a position where they're going to lose money when I depend on that relationship, and that relationship is so important and critical to my growth. I never want to put them in a position where they're losing money. I have a bad reputation. I've not done something that I promised to do. I'm always going to fulfill my word. I'm going to take the hit myself in my personal business and always pay my private lender so they're ready to throw those funds into the next deal. And that's just something that we do as a company, and I think it's the right thing to do no matter what, if you want to have a company that is going to succeed in the long term and have private lenders, like Sunny said, that don't complain about anything, because we always pay the bills. So I wanted to throw that out there. That is a risk. You need to really know who you're working with, who you're trusting in these deals, and their history. And that's why I had Sunny come on, because she is a private lender with us, and she's worked with us for a very long time and can attest to all of this stuff. So I wanted to throw the risk in there just so everybody knew. Okay, I'm going to get back to the experts. Next question is, what type of return do you see from being a private money lender? And Randy, I gave this to you because you have seen our books.
Well, you guys have heard about the golden rule, right? He who has the gold, or she who has the gold, makes the rules. So the cool thing about being a private investor is that you can vet the company you're potentially going to invest in to make sure that it's a company like Freedom, where there's still risk, but that risk is mitigated. You know that the end product is still going to be top notch, and it's going to sell. And if the company takes a hit, that doesn't mean that the investor takes a hit. It means that their profit takes a hit. And quite frankly, you're even less at risk, because these products that get onto the market, even if they don't move right away, they're still super valuable. and someone will portfolio that. So someone's going to get into that, even if it's at a lower price. So you're not at risk. So I just wanted to add that. But since you have the gold and you are potentially making the investment, you can look for the deals that match the terms that you want to get into. And the reality is, it is supply and demand. So if you have someone who's going to be turning properties quickly, and there's maybe an origination fee, so the more times you have an origination, the more times you earn that fee. And then if your note has an APR, the amount of time that's out, that's actually your return. So getting turns on your money and all those kind of things. I know I went into a couple of variables in the types of returns, but the reality is that you don't have to write a check until you're comfortable with what your return is going to be.
That's right.
Right? So you're collateralized, you're comfortable with that collateral, and you know exactly what the return is going to be. It's not like you're investing in a property. I want to make sure that's distinction. You don't get a percentage of the profit at the end of this deal. You get a check for the amount of money that has accrued for the time that the money was borrowed. You know exactly what you're getting back.
Good stuff. Good clarification too. I never really thought about making that clarification. So good. All right, Danielle. I know you've been waiting to run with Randy's last statement a couple questions ago. So what is the advantage of using retirement funds to invest in real estate as a private lender?
Well, that's it. And Randy set me up perfectly, because the 36% or whatever the passive income rate is eliminated in the IRA. So, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier as well, and the differences between IRAs and 401ks. So I thought this was a really good kind of place to discuss that. I mean, so when you think about an IRA account, or really anything you have that's pre-tax as a retirement account, we're still earning that profit, and it's still accumulating in the account, and we're not paying tax. The retirement account, whether it's the IRA, the 401k, it's a tax shelter. The difference in your IRA versus your Roth IRA, or even your Roth 401k, is the taxation. Because in my Roth IRA, as I grow it, I still don't pay tax. But as I withdraw that money, and once I get to retirement age, I meet my qualifications, it's all completely tax-free as well. I mean, so it's the only way that I know to legally cut out taxes forever, legally. Right? Or that's the key part, legally. So we help clients, like I say, whether it's an IRA and they're just a W-2 employee, they're not self-employed, we can help them gain access through the traditional account or a Roth IRA. But for my solo entrepreneurs or my folks that are self-employed, I mean, that's really where we can open up, I'll say, the steroids, and put it all on steroids with the solo 401k, and having that Roth component there too. So helping not only as they're accessing existing funds, but also as they might be looking to put some additional monies away and generate some tax savings for themselves now as well. So
awesome. Yeah. I'm super glad that you got into the differences. So thank you for explaining all that.
Yeah.
All right. How much money do you need to be a private lender? This goes to you, Sunny.
Sure. Well, the more the better, right? Everybody needs some money to do investment, but I think I'm just kind of a piggyback of Danielle's points. Using my retirement fund, I have a solo 401k. When I get out from Liddy as a scientist, I think, well, I need to learn how to do my own investment. I don't trust those banks, and I don't trust the stock market at all. So I put all my retirement fund to solo 401k, because I start becoming an investor, so I have my own company. So doing the same time, I can see the big differences, because all the money in there, it just sit it. You don't really do anything, because you just pray, everything. When I need the money is still like high, but that is the only thing you can do. But when you manage it, it's so different. So I say amount of money, I would say if you have a lot of lazy money sitting on somewhere, you can just invest it. And maybe become use like a sale direct or the retirement fund, so 401k, smart using those lazy money on your tax benefits. So I would say usually for the fund, like Danny's project, they really need about $60,000 to $150,000 per deal, and ideally you can just fund one. You want to see that, but I would say if you have more than that and you're really looking for other projects, I highly recommend it. Just put things in this private lending project right now because we all know investors shouldn't put any all the egg in one basket.
Mhm.
But in my own experience, if that investment is secured by real estate and it's secured by an excellent team and secured by your retirement fund, you don't need it now anyway, but you're going to make you steady money, and why not? So I would say if you have more capital, then you think that might be the way you would like to continue to invest in, use your retirement funds. I think that's the golden strategy for you to go ahead. And I just summarize it. I know I couldn't really mention any percentage or something I use my retirement fund to invest, but I would say it's double digits. For 10 years, it's double digits every year.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that. And I also made a note to mention that when we talk to private lenders, it's always kind of an experience of deciding and understanding what their goals are, right? So we have a lot of people that I had no idea they had such a large pool of funds that they were earning very little on. And when we had the first conversation, they were just getting to know us. They might have been introduced by Sunny or just came to us another way. And they said, well, you know, what's the minimum amount that I need to fund a deal with? And I say $60,000 to $75,000 is probably the starting point. And so they fund a deal, 60, 75, and they're just like, I just want to fund, you know, one and just see how it goes. And then as we do 1 and 2, suddenly they're like, oh, I have this extra 100,000. Oh, I have this extra. So it really is, you know, it's about your goals, right? And we customize that situation for you and your comfort level. And a lot of investors who have worked with us for a while are now asking, are there bigger projects? So we are looking to do bigger projects here, bigger multifamily things here in later 2020. So that's something that I'm excited about and just allows you different options as a private money lender. So I just wanted to throw that in. Okay, Danielle, I'm back to you. What is the process of funding a deal if I'm going to use my retirement funds?
Yeah, so I mean, I boil it down to 3 steps, right? So 1, we've got to decide, right? So we got to have the account. And that's really where I work with investors on a one-on-one basis to see what is the best fit, right? Whether it's that solo 401k, whether it's Roth, making sure that we're moving funds into the right account to mitigate any sort of tax advantage or penalties or anything like that. So, you know, that way everything moves dollar for dollar. So 1, right, we already decided to do something, we've got to take action. 2 is, you know, depositing the funds into the account. So whether that's, you know, a contribution, whether that's, you know, transferring or rolling over, my team helps with all of that. And then 3rd is directing that purchase, that investment. And we ask to see a copy of the documents that were already made mention, you know, that note or that deed of trust. We ask for documents called a direction to invest, which is where you're saying, yep, I'm investing with Danny, or this is the investment I'm making. I need X dollars sent here, right? And we process based on those instructions. It's that simple.
I love it. Simplicity.
Yeah.
I love that you went 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah, make it simple.
That's right. All right, Steve, we're back to you. So you work at the title company as the attorney there. So can you explain the process if I'm funding a deal using cash?
Okay. Funding a deal using cash, then the title company, what we will need, and any title company would need, would be the funds to be wired. In the state of Ohio, any funds that are being used to fund a transaction or used in a real estate closing of any kind, once they exceed $10,000, need to be in the form of a wire transfer. So, for instance, we would give that individual or that entity, individual, what have you, our wiring instructions, and they would need to wire the funds. All right, we cannot take cashier's checks by statute in Ohio now over 10,000. So, and ideally, we would want those funds to be wired the day before the closing. Right, so there's no hang up. There's no lag time. In other words, we wouldn't have to what I would call dry close. In other words, we wouldn't be able to disperse funds unless we have funds. So that's why we prefer that you would send them, and I think you should send them in that case, the day before closing. If in the event that the transaction doesn't close for some reason on time, we of course, as the title company, wire those funds back from whence they came. But that's the general process on that. And again, it must be in the form of a wire transfer by state statute in the state of Ohio.
Awesome. And there's a part 2 to this, Steve. Can the private lender live out of the country?
They can. Same process in that case. You definitely would wire. You would have wired even prior to the statute I'm speaking of, which has been in effect about 3.5 years now. in the state of Ohio. But in that case, they probably want to wire the funds sooner. It's because when they come from overseas, it's a longer process. It would go through. It's a longer Federal Reserve process for that. But yes, that is entirely possible, and yes, it has occurred.
Awesome. Okay, so I ended this whole series of questions with 4 questions to really highlight you guys, because there's a reason why I work with you guys. So I'm going to give you each an opportunity to kind of just let us know about your company and why I could brag about you guys forever and ever. I always tell Randy, I was like, I'm one of your raving fans. So this just kind of gives you an opportunity to say, hey, this is why Danny likes us so much. So I'm starting with you, Steve, since you just left off with the question. Is the title company we use important? And I'm going to say yes. Now you can answer.
It absolutely is. I know, for instance, our company, All Points Title and Closing, we have been in business for about 55 years. We've been in continuous operation. I think we're very conscientious. I think we're the best. We're very conscientious. We also, in terms of closings, we service the entire state of Ohio. We are in the Cincinnati area, and that's our prime, and Dayton's between Cincinnati and Dayton, I should say, and that's our primary, but we do service the entire state of Ohio. Title, closing, title insurance. I think everyone on staff here, Sue, Angie, Brenda, myself, very knowledgeable and willing to work with you and get the deal closed. And I think that's the bottom line.
And that's the truth. He couldn't have said it any better. I will make note that I use All Points Title as part of my negotiations. So when we have a deal coming, if they list a different title company, it is literally one of the negotiation points that is a deal breaker unless I cannot figure out how to make that happen. But I would say 1% of our deals goes to a different title company. It's because I trust the All Points Title team. They are phenomenal, and they do get the deal closed, and they save us from title issues. We've had other title companies where we did close, and it's just a nightmare, and I won't name those title companies. I will just say, use All Points Title. They are the best, and that's why I work with them. So thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, Randy, you're next. Is a CPA, or is the CPA that you choose to use important? I say yes. Your turn.
Well, I also say yes, but just to piggyback a little bit for Steve there, I actually have a mortgage brokerage background, and I cannot, double stamp anymore your words that the title company that keeps their service level agreement, gives you a clean title when they say it's a clean title, and will get the deal done. How valuable that is in these transactions, especially when days are dollars. So just reinforcing the importance of a title company. I do think that the CPA that you work with is important. We are moving further and further, or farther and farther from the time where there's actual value in, so anyone can do transactions. Folks are savvy. We live in an information age. We can, if you have the time to do it, you can Google how to treat specific transactions, where to put them, and how to be compliant. Okay. Compliance is really a paint by numbers. What you need when you have a CPA or someone who is going to do, it doesn't necessarily have to be a CPA, just someone who is going to help you with your business, keep track of the financials and those kind of things, is someone who understands the business that you're in and looks at transactions as an opportunity to apply strategy. Because what is missing in most CPA firms, and that's what makes us different, is that entrepreneurial spirit. We are absolute content experts. If someone has a CPA, I assume that they can do the job. Much like Steve being an attorney, you would expect someone who is an attorney, they can absolutely do the job. Can they apply strategy? Can they make themselves valuable in every transaction as it happens in real time? That's who you want to work with. You want to work with someone who is specific to your industry, maybe has been a part of that industry, maybe has their own rental properties or done a few flips, those kind of things if you're in the real estate space. But the CPA, it's not just having a CPA, but having a CPA that understands your business is of the utmost importance. Otherwise, take the time, carve out a Saturday, do it yourself.
That's right. And I've said this many times. I'm loud and proud on Facebook about Randy and his services and the reason that we chose them. And I know investors that I've talked to all the time that are frustrated with their accounting firm or CPA or things like that. And I'm just like, I'm not. Let me tell you a little bit about Randy. But I really truly looked at him not just as a CPA, but as a financial coach. There's many times where I'm just like, Randy, help me and just give me some high level advice so that I can make the next and most wisest move. And he goes to that nth degree, and that's why I continually say that I'm a raving fan of his. So thank you, Randy, for all you do for me.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're moving on. Danielle, is the retirement company we use important? And I will say I've worked with bad ones. So my answer is yes. Your turn.
I'll say yes. You want to work with a custodian. So not all self-directed providers are created equal. You'll run into administrators, facilitators, promoters. It's not all the same. So a custodian does meet or has to meet IRS requirements. They are regulated by the state or federal banking regulators. So it is an upper tier, upper echelon there. Two, you want someone, again, that understands the business. You want someone who has experience, and two, who has speed that can help get that deal done. I'll say I can't give enough kudos to our client service staff or operations team, because they really do work to get it across the line in the time frame needed, and they are more than happy, not only to work with the client, but assuming the client grants access, to work with the title company direct, to work with that investment sponsor to make sure that communication, right, everyone's on the same page. Though I know that can be one of the big frustrations. I'm sure, Danny, you could probably speak to that too, with some other providers. We really want to make that sweet, simple, smooth for the client and for the groups they're investing with.
Awesome. And I will say that in business in general, communication is key. And one of the things that I love about you is within 24 hours, no matter what, I'm getting something from you. And I know that you guys are busy and you're handling and juggling a million different things. And so that's what creates raving fans, in my opinion, in business, is that superior customer service. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Sunny, your turn. Now, I wasn't really sure what type of question to ask. So just be awesome and speak to us.
Sure. Well, I hoping I can represent all the future clients you're going to meet.
Yes.
I moved on working a corporate, so I got the W-2. Then I move out, become a self-employee. So I have 2 companies under me and work so hard and that. And I just like everything I do in that 2 quadrant is just working for money. I'm tired of it. The only thing I can really just do something I really love to do is I want money to work for me. So being an investor really give you this opportunity, but not the only other investment in the world. You have to find one steady and really pay you, other than you work so hard for another job. This is not the good life for the investor. So what I'm just suggesting, if you are looking for opportunity to make money for you, you need to find a good firm to put your money into it, and that money need to be secure by something. So it's not just gonna vanish out when something's gone. So put those all together. I think if you have more other question or anything have a concern, I welcome you to contact me. I think Danny is going to be provide our contact information, because I was in your shoes. So I know what your concern is, what you worry about, what the things you don't know, the uncertainty to put money in the stranger's hands. But I have to share that experience with you. Once you get out, you learn something, because the first thing you have to invest in yourself. If you don't know anything, just give money to somebody. Don't expect money coming back, because you don't know what you're doing. But the first thing you need to invest yourself. I think Danny and all other people in this just provide you education benefits for you to understand what's to be a private lender. And everybody here, I believe, are open for that. If you really want to have some question and want to know more, welcome to contact any of us. I think we will provide you all the information you need and give you peace of mind. So investing in the real estate for you is not a big jump. It's very easy, because you're working with a reputation, very highly reputation team here. So that's why I'm going to add this welcome. If you want to have any questions, I'm the consultant for this. I really love to work with Danny and all the team. I personally committed I was going to run some kind of online promotion for this project because I think that is excellent. I don't want anybody don't know about this. So that's all I have, but I'm just really happy to be part of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sunny. And thank you for the relationship that we've had for over 2 years now. I really, really appreciate it and I value you. So thank you. And you led me off to the last thing, which is what do I do if I'd like to learn more? So Sunny kind of told you, I'm going to be putting everybody's contact information. So you're going to have whatever contact information they allow me to provide to you on this screen. You will have it so that you can call them or email them or do whatever. I'm anticipating Steve is not going to give you his direct line, but you will have a phone number to the title company so that you can at least reach them. So don't hesitate to reach out if you need a good title company, a title attorney, a CPA. If you want to talk to somebody who's lent with us before, if you want to direct your funds and talk to Danielle with Specialized IRA Services, then talk to them, use them. These are great resources. I've worked with them for a very long time. I trust them, and they're the only people that I use for these specific things. So I hope that this recording and this event was very educational. Reach out to us if you have any questions, and that's all I have. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate you, Sunny, Randy, Danielle, and Steve. You guys are freaking awesome.